Earlier this year, I was hired by the Bonham Hotel in Edinburgh to record and produce a series of short videos for use on their website. The Bonham is one of the top rated and highly regarded hotels in Edinburgh, so this was the first time I had been hired for this type of work by such a big and reputable client. In this video, I'll share exactly how it went. The Bonham is a luxury boutique hotel set in the West End of Edinburgh and hosts 49 ensuite bedrooms, including several stunning and very spacious suites, event rooms, a bar, restaurant, and an extensive art collection throughout, including stunning paintings, ornate chandeliers and light fittings from the 18th and 19th centuries, and unique, one-of-a-kind items from Tiffany. So I'm currently filming in one of the suites, a real huge room. So I'm filming on the widest lens that I have, 12mm, but I am shooting on the Fujifilm X-T2, so there's a crop factor in that as well. So it's not too wide, but wide enough to allow me to capture as much of the room as possible and to really try and show off just how spacious it is. Lighting conditions are a bit tricky. You'll be able to tell from this video just now, the artificial lights can produce a few issues, but I do like having them on because it helps create a real ambience in the room. Without it, it just looks a bit flat. So I really like having the natural light coming in through that huge bay window, combined with the artificial light in the room as well. Like I say, just creates a real nice ambience in the room. What I have been very pleased about is that despite those kind of mixtures in light, I have actually also been able to film looking out onto the window, looking across the room, and also looking out of that window and capturing that lovely view out of that huge bay window. Initially, I wasn't sure if I would be able to capture the view out of the window because when you're shooting indoors, the light outside is so much brighter than the light in the room. Oftentimes, it'll just be completely washed out. But I'm filming later on in the evening when the sun is low, and that's enabled me to capture both the light in the room and the light and the view outside of that huge nice window as well. So yeah, I started filming things that first evening, had a few hours, and then I reviewed some of the footage back that evening before I went to bed. And I watched the footage back and I just felt useless, really. I just wasn't happy with, I felt like such an amateur. I felt the footage was just awful. I felt like it wasn't even in focus. I felt like it was shaky, blurry. I hated it. I hated myself, and I just started to doubt myself so much. It was the first time I'd been hired for video work for such a big client, and I just felt like I had blown it, and I was like, what am I gonna do? They're paying me, expecting me to produce very good work, and I'm not gonna be able to give them anything. You know, how bad am I? I can't even get a video that's sharp and in focus. And I just began to doubt myself so much, and I just thought, you know, I'm just never ever gonna be able to do this. You know, who am I kidding? I'm just not cut out for this. But then I took a moment to pause, and I started to think about all the podcasts I've listened to, all the magazine articles I've read, all the videos I've watched, all the interviews I've read, listened to, watched with not even just successful photographers, just successful people in general, actors, musicians, comedians. I thought about all the interviews I've seen with all these very successful people where they've spoken about self-doubt, how they've spoken about how they felt like they were an imposter, when they've spoken about all these failures they've had early on, but they've not let that stop them. They've not let that get to them. They've just carried on, and that's the difference. It's not that successful people just wake up from day one at a young age and everything's rainbows and they're just amazing and it all goes perfectly for them. That's not how life works for anyone. The most successful people, they all started the same way as most of us. They all started from the bottom and learned things along the way, and yeah, a lot of mistakes, a lot of fuck ups, and yeah, that's the difference. When that happens, do you just think, right, I can't do this, and do you stop, or do you carry on? Do you show a bit of resilience? So I thought about all these interviews that I've seen, and I thought, okay, I've still got another day, I've still got a full day tomorrow. Let's make sure I do a good job. Might not be happy with the footage I've done today, but I've still got a day to rectify it. I can still learn from it. Let's think about it. Let's think what I've got to do to make tomorrow better. And yeah, let's just do what it takes to have a good day and produce some good content. And I did have a few challenges which made it difficult, which is why I wasn't happy with my footage. Firstly, it was my first time using this specific gimbal. I've used gimbals in the past, but it's my first time using this gimbal, and I don't know why I don't know why the footage wasn't as stable as I was expecting it to. I had it set up, I had it balanced correctly, I was using it correctly, but at times it wasn't as stable as I was expecting. So there must have been something in the settings that wasn't quite right. But yeah, not ideal for it to be my first time using that gimbal, so that gave me some issues. Also, I was using my Samyang 12mm lens. I was filming interiors, so I wanted a nice wide lens. So I was using my Samyang 12mm, which is manual focus. So when I was filming some of the detail shots kind of close up, that was where I was getting some difficulties with getting the video in focus, particularly when I was moving. However, I was very, very observant with everything I was doing, everything that was working, everything that wasn't working, and I just kept learning as I went. And also, to be very, very honest, most of it was just me being overly critical on myself, overly harsh on myself. That footage from the first day, which, like I say, I hated initially, I showed it to my friend who's a photographer. I showed it to him the following morning. He watched a lot of it and said, it's fine, it's in focus, it's sharp. So yeah, a lot of it was just me being overly critical, overly harsh on myself, and just doubting myself really. Yes, there was parts that were out of focus, shaky, but there was also equally just as much that was sharp, that was stable and nice, and just, you know, what was expected of me. And that's a key thing as well. I made sure I filmed a lot so that I had a lot to work with. And at the end of it all, ultimately the client is happy with the videos that I've gave them. And you know, they had already paid a videographer to produce videos for them. A videographer who charged more than me, has more experience with 5-star hotels, you know, more experience than me, done a lot more video work than me. They paid him a lot of money, and yet ultimately they weren't satisfied with his videos, and that's why they decided to get me in. And I knew what they weren't happy about with their previous videos, so I made sure I addressed that. That was my main priority. And first time, like I say, yes, I've done video work before, I've done photo work for people before, but this is my first time specifically doing video as well, being paid by such a big client, one of the major hotels in Edinburgh. This is my first time doing something on this scale, and yet it's my work that they're happy with at the end of the day. So that proves to me that I can do it. Yeah, on day one, I felt useless. I doubted myself a lot, but I stopped myself and I told myself, I can do this. Thought about all the other successful people who have had bad stories, and I thought, no, I'm going to show a bit of resilience. I can do this. I'm not going to let this stop me. And yeah, I guess I've done a pretty good job at the end of it. So I'm sure many watching this, if you haven't worked with any clients, or you're just starting out, whether it's photography or video or absolutely anything at all, any creative field, or if you're doubting yourself, or if you've had a bad experience and you thought, well, that's it, I just can't do it, don't let it stop you, because we all have these bad experiences. Sometimes, like I've shown, sometimes it might not actually even be a bad experience. Sometimes maybe you didn't even fuck up. Maybe you're just too harsh on yourself. So don't be harsh on yourself. Don't be overly critical. And if you do have a bad experience, learn from it and don't let it stop you. So get out there, keep killing it, be kind to yourself, love everyone else, be happy. Yeah, that's basically it. That's it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you in the next video.